Hey guys, welcome back to Handmade with me, Marianne. So I have been noticing a trend lately out there on the old internets where people are taking old baby cribs and turning them into other things, like not cribs. Like people are turning them into, well, beds. That's not exactly a stretch. People are turning them into furniture, into tables. I've even seen a baby crib turned into a dog crate. Pretty sure that one's over on HGTV somewhere. So when I saw this crib for $10 at the world's longest yard sale, my wheels started turning. And I was inspired to turn it into a sandwich board. You may be wondering, Marianne, what would I possibly use a sandwich board for? Last time I checked, I do not own a coffee shop. Well, you could use them for weddings, you could use them for yard sales, you could use them to let people know that you're having a party and it's that way. You know, there's a lot of different things you could use these for. They're super handy, and I mean, I think this old crib's gonna make a really cute sandwich board. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do before we start our transformation is we're going to remove any hardware and anything that can be removed off the top, because this is going to make it a lot easier to add our hinge. So these little guys come right off. Oh, they're really in there. So those come right off, and I'm gonna hang on to these because, I don't know, I feel like you could do something with them. I feel like you could turn them into hooks on the wall maybe, or little feet for something. I mean, you know me, I don't ever get rid of anything. So we're gonna set those aside. Okay, we did it. And now we are just going to remove the rest of this crib hardware. It didn't come with the sides or the bottom, so these are the only parts we're going to use. That worked out great for us. And all you need for this is either a drill with a screwdriver bit or a screwdriver. Okay, so we got all the hardware off, and now we're ready to paint. So, one thing, so one thing of note, the tops of these, where these little spindles came out, do have holes, and you can totally use some wood filler to fill those in. I'm not going to, because one, they're not really going to show. They're going to be at the top of the sign. And two, if you do that, you don't ever have the option of putting these back in. And I don't know, I may want to take it apart and turn it into a mirror or something. So I'd like to have the option to be able to still use these. But your mileage may vary. You can do what you want. First thing we're going to do, we're going to give it a wipe down, sand any imperfections, and then get to painting. So a quick note on paint. I am using chalk paint for this project. Now that's not chalkboard paint, although we are using that on part of it. Chalk paint is an acrylic paint that has plaster of Paris in it. It gives it a really pretty matte finish, and most importantly, you don't have to sand or use a primer with it. So it makes it super easy to use on projects like this. Okay guys, we've got 2 coats, front and back, on both pieces of our crib. And now it's time to add our chalkboard paint. Remember, we used chalk paint on the outside, and now for this part, we're using chalkboard paint so we can write on it and use it as a sign. For this, I recommend using a foam tip paintbrush to do the edges, and then a small foam roller to roll the inside. That way you won't get any lines in the paint that may make your chalk look not perfect. We're always aiming for perfection, right? I mean, I think that's what I'm known for, clearly. Okay, now while that finishes drying, we're going to add some gold to the top. You know I love me some gold. So as you can see, the top of this crib has a little decorative element, and I thought it would be really pretty to add some gilding wax to it, just to give it a little gold. You know I love me a little gold, a little sparkle. We're just going to use some cotton swabs, and we're going to buff it right inside this groove. Now, if you have trouble keeping everything inside the lines, don't fret. You can always go back and touch it up with a small paintbrush afterwards. Okay guys, it's time to attach the hinges. Now, this will kind of vary depending on the shape of the top of your crib. We bought these big hinges, and you're going to want to attach them to one side first before you do the other side, because as you see, we can't really line these up and get them close enough to attach them both. Now, if your crib maybe doesn't have this kind of camelback feature at the top, you may be able to do it all at once, which would be kind of awesome, but we can't. Grab a pencil, mark those holes, grab a drill, and we're going to add some pilot holes. You want to keep your hinge in place. You can just grab a piece of painter's tape. All right, I had to phone a friend for this one. So Danielle is going to help us line it up here, and then we are going to finish tightening all of these screws. We're just gonna get these in place, and then we're gonna tighten them. Okay guys, finishing touch. Well, before we get to the chalk at least, we're going to add some eye hooks and a piece of chain. It's decorative, but also keeps the sandwich board from sliding too far apart. All right, so to do this, we're just going to measure 24 inches down, and we're just gonna put it about in the middle. Okay, we're gonna grab the drill again and drill 2 more pilot holes. All right, now we're just going to grab 2 eye hooks. And finally, we're just going to add some chain. All right, guys. Oh my God, I think it's done. All that's left is to prime it with some chalk, and then it's really done. Now, most chalkboard paint says you need to wait at least 24 hours before drawing or writing anything on it. And here is a tip from me to you. You should prime the chalkboard first with a piece of chalk turned on its side. Once you do that and erase it, you'll be able to write on it and erase it no problem for all of the parties and yard sales, and you maybe want to open your own coffee shop. I don't know. What would you guys use one of these signs for? It was a little bit tedious to make, but I have to say the end result is so cute, and I can't wait to use this. I think I'm going to use it at my friend Danielle's wedding. Stay tuned. I want you guys to leave me a comment down below. What would you write on this sign? Why don't you tell it to me in emojis? Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Bye.